Building guitars is an addictive thing, and for me that all started many years ago now with the Telecaster, and I've wanted to revisit the Telecaster recipe for quite a long time now and do something really special with it. So while I start making the neck, let's have a chat through the plan. The Telecaster holds a really special place for me, not just because when it first came out it was a masterstroke in design and innovation, but because it delivers such a complete package in such a simple solution, and that really appeals to me. But it was designed primarily as a mass-produced utility instrument for the working musician, and that comes with a whole set of limitations. So the plan today is to see what we can produce if we remove all of those cost and time limitations associated with mass production. Starting with the way that the guitar feels. The first thing that we're going to change is to add a bit more comfort to the body than the original. And we're going to do that by adding both a small belly cut and an arm bevel. It's also not going to be a bolt-on neck. We're going to make this guitar a set neck with a tapered heel that's seamlessly carved into the body. One of the reasons that it's taken me so long to revisit the Tele design is that I knew I wanted to incorporate more comfort into the body, but I also love the way that double-bound Telecasters look, and I couldn't figure out for quite some time how to achieve both. So we're going to have to get a bit creative to do that. But I'll come on and talk about that a bit later. First, let's have a chat about the wood choices. I'm using one of my favourite wood combinations for this guitar. This neck is Sapele and maple. It has a lightly flamed maple fretboard, and I'm also going to use Sapele to bind the fretboard, so it will give kind of the effect of the fretboard being inlaid into the neck. The body from back to top will be Sapele, then a thin veneer layer of maple, then Okoume as the main body, then another thin veneer layer of maple, and then a Sapele top that matches the back. So essentially the whole guitar will be just two colour tones, and that will keep the whole thing in the end hopefully looking clean and simple, but also it will look like one design thought. And that's something I try to do for all of my guitars. And with the installation of the binding, which I'm doing here, that's really the start of that look. It's worth mentioning at this point that this is going to be a 22 fret guitar. It's also not going to be a 25.5 inch scale scale. This will be a 24.69-inch scale, which I find much more comfortable to play, but also that brings some really interesting changes to the way that this guitar is going to sound. Not only does that mean it's going to cut off some of the harshest of the highs that you typically get with a Tele when you're playing very clean, but it also means that where the bridge pickup sits in relation to the scale length is slightly further away from the saddles than it would be on a 25.5-inch scale. That's going to soften and also to warm up the sound a bit. That, in conjunction with the bare knuckle blackguard flat 50s pickups that I'm putting in this guitar, should give me a nice chunky low end, some growling mids, and a really meaty overall sound to the guitar when I add some gain stages. The body of this guitar is where things become a bit more complex than with the traditional Tele, but I'm happy to do a more complex build in order to achieve that double bound look and also do my comfort carves. So let's chat about how I've decided to do that. I'm using a 2mm maple veneer layer in between the top and the body, and also the back and the body. So when you look at the side of the guitar, it will look like a 2mm pinstripe that goes all around the edge of the guitar between the top and back. But if I want that framed effect that double binding gives to the body, I'm also going to have to do something into the top and the back of the body. So what I'm going to do is inlay a purfling channel 3.5mm into the top and the back, following the perimeter of the guitar. And I'm going to do that using the same maple that I used for the veneer layer. Doing it this way means that I can also make it work for the comfort carves that I want to do. I'll simply cut the purfling channels at an even distance around the majority of the perimeter of the guitar, and then I'll bend those channels in where I want to start doing my comfort carves, and I'll use the purfling line as a guide which I can carve up to. I know that sounds complicated, but that's what you can see starting to come together here as I start putting the layers of the body together. Now you can see how the edge of that guitar is going to look, and since the main structure of the body is done, I need to get the neck pocket complete so that I can then move on to routing the channels for the purfling and installing it. It's worth mentioning at this point that I'm going to be making a small number of these to sell. I'm going to start with 6. I have the woods picked out for all of them already. They're all going to be unique and different. So if you particularly like this combination of Sapele and maple, this one's going to be available to buy. My contact details are in my profile page. Just drop me an email if you're interested. Hopefully now you can see what I meant when I said that I would bend those purfling channels in where I wanted to start my comfort carves, and that purfling line would give me a nice clear line to carve up to. So once I have the purfling shaved down and flush with the body, I can move on to marking up and doing the carves. For me, this is such a rewarding way of building a guitar, and it's at the point now where all of your choices start to come together, because for the first time it really starts to feel like it's becoming a guitar. The wood choices and the construction method all start to bring your vision to life, and it's a great feeling. I mentioned at the start of the video that I want all my guitars to feel like one single design thought when they're finished, and hopefully this guitar's a really good example of that, because what I mean by that is that no matter how complex the build might be, the end result is something that looks really cohesive and clean and simple, rather than a mix and match of parts, which a lot of the time that's what mass-produced guitars look and feel like to me. So with the remainder of the routing done, the control plate recessed into the top, all that remains before I come on and apply the finish to this guitar is to get the neck carved. And this is one of my favourite parts of any build. This will be a slim tapered neck with a perfect C-shape profile and super comfy transitions for the headstock and for the heel. And this is where I really spend the time to get everything perfect before I move on to the next step, because for me the neck is the most important part of how the guitar feels. With all those final touches complete, I can move on to applying the finish, and to bring out all the natural beauty of the wood and the contrast between the woods that I've chosen, I'm going to apply a satin finish to the whole guitar.